Blizzard have buffed D.Va, but D.Va is still kinda dead. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome to the channel. I'm Salosa and I'm joined by the glorious...
One amongst many. Yes, hello. D.Va, everyone's favourite Korean warfighter, I guess. Embroiled in the Korean military, fighting a battle for her very life, is currently having a bit of a tough time in Overwatch as well. She's not looking great. So what's going on with D.Va? What's happening in D.Va's world?
Well, they buffed D.Va on the PTR, right? Now, we all know barriers got nerfed, and it's a massive nerf to barriers, and it's totally changed the way the game is played. But they also buffed D.Va's defense matrix, and I'm thinking, and I guess you were probably thinking this at the time, Josh, like, oh, this must be an attempt to sort of give a little bit more power back to D.Va, but maybe to try and offset some of the losses in the barrier department with the barrier tanks. Maybe you can offset some of that with defense matrix. But I'm not seeing that at all. In fact, I'm seeing D.Va as the worst tank in the game right now, and it's a little bit baffling to me when you consider her kit. But then I guess when you look at other heroes in the game right now and just the way the game is going, is it really that much of a surprise?
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's like her counters have got very good and her counters are very numerous at this point. So heroes like Roadhog is pretty good at the moment because you're smashing barriers, he's self-sustainable and he can do a lot of damage and just find kills pretty consistently. Sigma's pretty good and he can just kind of do everything that D.Va's doing at the moment. Zarya is very good and being played a hell of a lot at the moment, and she just doesn't care a jot about D.Va and just guns her down. And with the reduction to ultimate charge they did a while ago, like the old, oh well, D.Va can eat Graviton Surge, it feels that happens a lot less because there's just fewer gravs going out, it matters a lot less, and the Zarya is just running around with like 9 billion charge, glowing like the sun, and tearing her out of her mech. And it's very, very hard, I find, for D.Vas to get actual value, but D.Va Style has existed in meta forever. She's been, you know, since the inception of her hero, she's been very, very important to the game. So isn't it fair? Is this not a good thing that D.Va's out of meta style? Is this not a positive for the game?
I don't know, like, the thing, like, yeah, D.Va was everywhere, right? With Dive, D.Va was amazing. D.Va's got awesome peel potential, which I guess is something that we can touch on here, because when you look at the way the game has gone and you look at the addition of new heroes, D.Va, there's heroes in the game now that can do what D.Va does, and they've got other options available to them as well. Obviously, Sigma is an example here, but also Batiste is an example. Now, Batiste is a bit of a weird one, but the thing with the Batiste is he's got Immortality Field, and in essence, it's a kind of like a way of peeling, in a weird way, but he can peel the whole team unless they destroy the drone, which is what D.Va was sort of used for. But at the pro level, and I know we don't really care about the pro level too much on the channel, but we watch what the pros do, and then you can sort of work out what you should probably be trying to do on ladder, but you don't always have to follow them, because the pro meta really doesn't matter on ladder. But you would pick D.Va in the past because, yes, you'd use it to dive with Winston. You'd go in with D.Va, that'd be great. Or you could use her to keep the Zen alive, which is what you generally use her for in dive, especially at higher levels. Now, she kind of doesn't... That's like a pointless slot for D.Va to be in, because there are other heroes in the game that just sort of cover what D.Va would bring to the table. And it always comes back to the age-old argument of why in this world of 222, where you've got, let's say, your Orisa, why would you take a D.Va with the Orisa instead of taking a Roadhog? Now, if you do take the Roadhog and the other team take the D.Va, then, well, the Roadhog is just going to farm the D.Va. And like you said, the Zarya as well is also going to farm the D.Va. But beyond that, you've got hit scan heroes are going to farm the D.Va. Batiste is going to farm the D.Va. Everybody is going to farm the D.Va. Even though she's got more defense matrix, it's very hard, for, as you said, Josh, for her to get value. Now, I look at her and I think, where does she fit into the game? And this is becoming more of an issue the more I think about this. And it comes back to the idea of, like, what is the direction of Blizzard got for D.Va? Because if we go right back when they introduced the micro missiles to D.Va, for a while, she just became this, like, tank assassin. Remember? She could just dive in and just delete people. It was like, what have you made here, Blizzard? This is just crazy.
It's like the early stages of Doomfist sort of bubbling away as she just like rode someone down. But it's something I always like to come back to and like bring everyone back down to earth with, where it's very easy to kind of get caught up in the game itself, but the idea of what is the hero's identity? Like what when you think of this hero, what do you think of? What should they be doing? I always like pairing Winston and D.Va together as kind of like, well, Winston's very agile, very mobile, but he's very defensive in what he does. He doesn't do do a huge amount of damage, he puts down a big bubble, he can knock people away from areas and stuff like that with his ultimate. He's defensive. Well, with D.Va's kit, well, you got the guns that are very close range that can do a huge amount of damage if you get into someone. You got now the missiles, which are very good. You got her mobility, she can boot people around as well, knock people off stuff. So she's like more aggressive, more offensive. And I wonder if they don't need to like go back to the drawing board with a lot of heroes, to be honest, and just go, where did we go wrong almost? Like what's happened to D.Va? Because she sort of became this babysitter, like you said, where it was her job to sit and mind the supports and make sure that, a Tracer didn't come in and one-shot your Zenyatta. But now it's nebulous, and it feels like the defense matrix kind of took over her entire identity, and as a result, she's kind of lost that identity, especially with Sigma's inclusion, where Sigma has a pseudo defense matrix. Sure, it's not as sort of, I don't know what you would call it, flexible, I suppose, as D.Va's defense matrix, but it's still pretty good, and he's got a barrier that can also protect your supports. He's got a stun, which can protect your supports from a Doomfist, which D.Va can't really do as well, and so it's like, she's kind of just lost her place in the game, it feels like, and I don't know whether they need to go back and, would there be room in the game for like an assassin tank or a very aggressive tank like D.Va? Do you feel like you're playing a mech pilot when you're playing D.Va and like doing cool things and being D.Va, essentially, getting that player experience correct? And I think they've completely lost that in some way. And it's a shame, because she's a cool concept, like she's a really cool idea.
I think, they have, but you can see by what they're doing or what they have done on the PTR, which is now on live, with the buffs to defense matrix, they still kind of want that to be what D.Va is. That's almost what she's built around, right? Hey, you've got defense matrix, but like you said, Sigma has got a really gimpy defense matrix, but it's still defense matrix, just point blank. So like when you start getting that, let's get really fancy, that like cross-pollination of skill diversity thrown across like different heroes, it makes them less special. Like Orissa's done this to Zarya in a way with Grav. Orissa's got like a little mini Grav she can throw out all of the time. Now D.Va, she can't really stop that all of the time because it's just coming out all of the time, even though D.Va's got a very a faster charge rate now on her defense matrix. It's just not enough. But I agree with what you said there. Like, what is the identity for this hero? But not only that, what is the identity for just the tank class in general, the off-tank class, which is what she's part of? And maybe this problem they've got is something they just can't fix without any kind of radical change to the way competitive is played. And Jeff did touch on this a little bit in his interview he did with Edge magazine, where he said they were toying with radical changes to Overwatch PvP. Now, he never went into detail, but to me, there's a lot of like really fundamental things that you can't really change in Overwatch right now. I'd argue that what they've done to barriers is probably one of the biggest changes they've done forever, really, when it comes to maybe you could say ultimate charge time as well, but like big changes like that really changed the way the game's played. Maybe they can only do that with Overwatch 2, I don't know, but I still have this issue with D.Va when I look at the tanks, and I think if I honestly right now don't know when you would play a D.Va, because there are just better options than D.Va, and I've never really liked that kind of balance in the game where it's like, oh, this hero is just not playable anymore because this hero's better, and to me that's, I don't know, man, I just don't like that.
Yeah, it's like she's good if maybe you want to contest high ground with, like there's a soldier on high ground spamming away and you want to have someone who can go up there and can contest it a little bit and sort of push them off, or like a McCree maybe on high ground or something like that. But ultimately, it's just like, well, if you want something to support your barrier tank, then Zarya is like a great choice if you're playing with Reinhardt. Sigma's a great choice if you're playing with Orisa, or Roadhog's a great choice if you're playing with Orisa. And she doesn't have that like natural partner, I suppose. You can make the argument, well, okay, well, you want a dive tank, but now there's like Hammond and Winston, so you could play those two.
Hammond is the big one here as well. Like the example you gave with Soldier on high ground, so if he was on high, you just send Hammond. Hammond will kill Soldier. We'll just come in pile drive him and shoot him in the head and he's dead. Like, you physically cannot kill Hammond if he's full HP and he comes in for you. You just can't kill him with Soldier. So, like, in that way, we go back to the idea of, like, this assassin-style dive tank. Well, that's Hammond now. It's not D.Va.
Yeah.
Hammond just goes in. He don't care. He's like, he's coming in and he's going to smash your brains out and you're going to die. Anyway, how do they fix this? Like, what would you do to D.Va to give her a bit more viability?
Personally, I think they should move, like, you could go, oh, well, her identity is the defense matrix, that's what she is, but defense matrix is such an unfun ability. It's such like it feels good as D.Va when you're eating grabs and stuff, but remember back when that didn't appear on the kill feed, when you didn't get to see the amount of casts I've done where it's just like, oh, and the graviton search has gone off and we don't know what happened to, oh, D.Va must have eaten it. Like, you have to make the assumption. It's such a deflating moment in the game of something cool should be happening, but now it's just not. So I don't want them to go in and go, oh yeah, we should really do a lot with the defense matrix and make that her key identity piece. I'd like it if they went back to okay, well let's make the agile mech. The rockets are really fun, really cool to use. I'd like to see more out of those. I'd like to see more out of her agility. She's got maybe you can even look at her ultimate and try and make it a little bit more flexible or a little bit more useful somehow. There's lots of ideas. There's the whole transformation mechanic that she has with her as well. Maybe give her something outside of her mech form, and give her something in the sort of baby D.Va form, and see if she can do stuff with that. There's a ton of directions they can go. It's whether or not they will take the time to go back, look at D.Va, retool her a little bit, and give her a niche, give her something that she can do that all these other heroes now haven't sort of stolen away.
Yeah, this is the problem. I've got the crazy idea of, well, what happens if a defense matrix just became like Hammond's adaptive shield, and she could do that to herself? Now, in lore, it kind of would make a bit of sense. You've got this fancy mech, it's got some sort of shield it can apply to itself. But then you've got the problem of Hammond. So then you've got two tanks that are basically the same and could effectively dive in, pop their reactive shields, and then just start deleting people from the game. I think the big issue is defense matrix is D.Va, and that's what they've done. They've straight up gone, this is the ability, and we're building the hero around this ability. And over time, she's just become obsolete. And this has happened to a number of heroes. This most recently happened to Reinhardt, where he became totally obsolete, but there were other heroes out there that were more effective, let's say, and they still pretty much are more effective. But what they've done with Reinhardt, increasing his speed when his barrier is deployed, and also making him pretty much immune to knockback effects, suddenly gave him a much needed power boost, but it keeps his gameplay very similar. He's still doing the same type of job, and now he has the best barrier in the game, which he should have, because he is the quintessential barrier tank. But then you look at D.Va and you're like, well, what could Blizzard do to D.Va of that similar style, which gives her, re-energizes the hero so you can play it again? I just think the issue we've got here is, and you touched on it, Josh, and we did discuss it in the video, but it's just, you've got Hog, you've got Zarya, you've got these other options now on the table that are very strong in the meta, and they just destroy D.Va. And then if you really want to play an assassin style tank, you're just going to play Hammond. So I don't know why you'd ever play D.Va. She needs more buffs. That's just it. She needs some sort of major change. And hey, you guys go crazy in the comments below and let us know what you think about this, especially if you're a D.Va player. Me and Josh were actually talking before we made this video, and we bumped into a D.Va player on the ladder who's this 60 or 70 hour D.Va player this season. And it's kind of sad when you see it, because you can tell it's a good player, but you also know it's going to get farmed, which is, a bit of a shame. Anyway, all right, guys. I've been Salosa, and this is Unit Lost. If you guys enjoyed the video, then like the video. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter, which is @Salosa. I'm also @Salosa on Instagram, and you can follow Josh on...
and you can find me at twitch.tv/oneamongstmanytv and Twitter @one_amongstmany.
Awesome stuff, and we'll catch you guys on the next video.